First Unitarian Church in Providence, where we love beyond belief. Welcome to this multi-generational Thanksgiving service in anticipation of the holiday later this week. This is the day we have been given. As always, may we make the very most of it, starting now together.
Please join us in the words for our chalice lighting. This light burns in our hearts, and it lights our path toward harmony, justice, and hope for all.
Hello. I am so happy to be with you this morning. Our opening is adapted from dear colleague Reverend Manish Mishra Marzetti. Let us ground ourselves in this season, in this time and space. Winter is near upon us. Our last task before that is the harvest. Seeds have yielded all manner of fruit, all manner of consequences. we enter this sacred space, bringing our whole selves, the parts we like and the parts we do not. We come together, each with our own harvest, seeking here a word of comfort, an experience of beauty, inspiration to guide us. Let us ground ourselves in that purpose. Ground ourselves in body and in soul. Winter is near upon us. Sunlight gives way to night. Coldness grows closer. Gathering together, we seek warmth in one another's company. Seek the eternal light that permeates all. Whatever your harvest, whatever your pain or joy, here you are welcome and will be held. Let the earth flow to you and through you. Feel the healing strength of this community. Know you are not alone, that here you may find companions for the journey. Grounded in that spirit, grounded in the spirit of gratitude, let us worship.
And as part of our worship, it's our time to greet each other, to stand up as we are able, turn around, move, wave, or blow kisses or salute those who are in pews near or all the way across the meeting house. Wave at each other. We used to run around and shake hands and hug each other. Right now, this is what we can do. And as we do that, let's also take a moment to wave to the folks at home who are not with us. Hi, everybody at home. So glad you're tuning in, and we miss you. We hope you're waving back. And take a time to dwell in our gladness that we can be together in this space and through the gifts of our online work.
Please join in today's responsive reading, which will be found in the back of the hardcover hymnal. It's number 512 by O. Eugene Pickett. We give thanks this day for the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations. We give thanks this day for this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunset and seasons. We give thanks this day for the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements. We give thanks this day for our human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression. We give thanks this day for high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared. We give thanks this day for all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom, we give thanks this day. For human liberty and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose, we give thanks this day. We pray that we may have not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds.
You're my breath, you're a smile, you're my guest, you're the earth, you're the sun, you're the grass, you are love, you're my hands, you're a bug, you're my eyes, you're a hug, you're the light in the dark, you're the spark, you are fun, you're my mom, you are water, you're the stars, you're my daughter, you're my friend, till the end, you're my dreams, you're my father, you're the ants on the ground, the miracles on the sun, the feeling it all around, the hemisphere and the clouds, you're my pain, you're my sorrow, you're my hope for tomorrow, you're the strength when I'm hollow, you're the path that I follow, you're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything is a gift. All that I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all. You're the blessings every time I try to count. You're the lessons that I learn every time I turn around. You're the water when I'm burned every time I think I found everything I'm looking for. You're the sign saying stop to take a bow and keep moving forward and start looking towards your heart. It'll open all the doors and only then you'll start to hear the words sing in chorus in your mind and heart. Aligned in purpose, everything will feel gorgeous. All that I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all. Every day I sit and pray 'cause what I have is more than I deserve or I could ever imagine. How do I give back to all of this magic and spread the love so everybody can have it? It doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor, if I got a family or if I'm all alone. Bad things happen, I can just complain and moan, but there's a million things that I can be grateful for. So I lift up my hands now, and I open my heart, and my gratitude goes out to everything near and far. All that I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all. All that I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all. For it all, na 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 na. Grateful for it all, na 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 na. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything is a gift.
And we are grateful for it all. Here are this week's joys and sorrows. A candle of gratitude for the work of all the smart volunteers who put First You Worship on TV for those who can't get to the meeting house. A candle of joy to welcome my new niece, Everly Jean, into the world. May she live a long, happy, and healthy life. A candle of joy for interactions with new and lifetime and long-term friends, and with hope for an upcoming opportunity to contact my recent brother. A candle of gratitude and celebration for the life of Francis J. Lawler, my brother-in-law, and the family patriarch. A brilliant, funny, and loving soul, we will hold Fran in our hearts forever. A candle of sorrow and of gratitude and of love for Ann Dom, whom we said goodbye to this week. At 95, she may have lost her body, but never her spirit. Her extended family will miss her. We're going to do something a little different today. We are going to pray and have a body prayer. This is interactive. You all have a part. You all get to move around just a little bit. Why don't you shake a little? There you go. We see you moving. To begin, take a deep breath with me, please. And another. Now, body prayers can be done with and without words. We're going to do it both ways. I'm going to show you the movements. To begin, place your hands in front of your heart and just pause. Then extend your arms, bringing your hands out in front of you in a gesture of welcome. Then lift your arms, bringing your hands high above, reaching for the world's gifts. Then bring your arms down and gather those gifts to you. And then place your hands on your heart in a gesture of thanksgiving and gratitude. You got that? Follow. I'm going to say some words while we do this one time, and then we'll do it silently one time. Dear Spirit of life, let us bless the faces of all who surround us with pure gratitude for our connections to each other and great joy for the gifts we share, moving us ever closer to peace and love and hope.
Anybody remind me what holiday is coming this Thursday? I can't remember the name. No one else does either? Hanukkah is close. Before Hanukkah comes, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Interesting the energy with which you responded to that. It confirms my sermon topic today for sure. I have to remind myself that unlike last year, we have plenty of COVID tests now to make sure that we aren't sick or let us know if we are. We have vaccines safely available for everyone over 5 years old. We can be as careful as we need to be to make sure it's okay to gather with people that we love for the holiday. Most vaccinated people are not ending up in the hospital, and we have ICU beds and masks and PPE and improved treatments enough for all who need them. None of this was true this time last year. We have so much to be grateful for. Plus, OMGSH, I am talking to you here in our meeting house. Some of this congregation is right here with me. We are alive together, still here in this beloved community. And those of you at home, you can hear me perfectly well. And yeah, it's worth the applause. So much work and time, you have no idea. You can also hear our music. You can also hear our singers. None of this was consistently possible either this time last year. We have learned so much. We have gained so much. There is so much to be grateful for. And still, as you guys kind of showed when I was starting off this morning, one lesson that the last year and a half have taught me is that even when I have a lot to be grateful for, I may not actually feel grateful at all. And knowing how I ought to feel and being told how I ought to feel does not mean that I feel it. In fact, sometimes in recent months when people ask how I'm doing, I say, I have a lot to be grateful for, and I do not feel grateful. That's probably been my most consistent answer in the last few months. That's not a great way to be, and I know I'm not alone. Which raises the question, what do we do then when what we know and what we feel do not line up? For some faiths, that's okay. But in Unitarian Universalism, it really isn't. We believe that what we know and what we feel need to line up. It's part of living deeply with an authentic sense of faith and life. So, if we know we should feel humble and grateful and glad, but that is not at all where we are at, instead maybe we are aggravated and tired and cranky and still wanting more than what we have right now. Am I the only one who feels this way? Can you raise your hand if you also feel aggravated, tired, and cranky at times? Okay. So this was the question I was wrestling with because, Thanksgiving Sunday, kind of need to find a way to work on this. And so I went to a guru. I went to the most grateful person I personally know. And that is my sister Jenny. Some of you have met her when she has attended services a few times in recent years, since I joined you. My sister Jenny is 2 years younger than me, and she is a world beater. I'm not even exaggerating. She's a professor at Harvard. She works at the Kennedy School and the School of Business. She is tenured, which means she's got a guaranteed job there, and she's got a chaired professorship, which means she's really good at what she teaches, which is decision science. She looks at how emotion influences our decisions. Even when we don't think it does. Every time. And she also looks at how we can make better decisions. The US Navy created a position just for her as their chief decision scientist, reporting directly to the US Chief of Naval Operations. She has spoken at the White House. She has spoken at NATO. If you look up her faculty entry, the list of her achievements goes on and on and on. And at the very end of her bio, it says, Lerner is a strong advocate of increasing employment for persons with disabilities. She herself has had systemic lupus erythematosus since childhood. Lupus is an illness that gets its name from the Latin word for wolf. It's a disease where the body doesn't recognize itself, and it thinks itself is an infection or a virus of some kind, something that needs to be attacked, and so the body's immune system attacks the body. This can take almost countless forms, and it means living with lupus is incredibly hard. For instance, and it's germane that I give you some idea of what this really means and not just say, it's really hard. Once Jenny had constant lung infections and pneumonia for 6 years straight without a break. No matter how much care she took, she slowly got thinner and weaker. Her husband Brian used to have to hook her up with an IV in the middle of the night, every night, because she couldn't go even just the span of a night without treatment. And while that was happening, lupus did plenty of other things to her body at the same time. Both the disease and some of its treatments attack bones. So now at 53, Jenny has the bones of an extremely elderly person. At one point some years ago, she had 6 spinal fractures and 3 rib fractures all at the same time. And she walked around for many, many months wearing electrodes to help her control her pain. By far, our worst Christmas ever was when she was in the hospital up in Cambridge getting sicker from treatments and became critically ill. She thought she might not make it. And in fact, we all feared the worst. I took turns with her husband staying with her in her hospital room. I flew back to lead Christmas Eve with my church and flew back the next morning to be in the hospital. It was also a great Christmas because she made it through. And so who cared if we spent the whole 12 days at the hospital? It's hard for Jenny to heal from almost anything. Once after a spinal tap, her lumbar puncture wouldn't close and she was leaking cerebral spinal fluid into her body for months. She had to lie down all the time. She had her students come to her home and she taught them while lying prone on a couch, which she would get to by maneuvering on a wheeled ottoman from her bed. No one at that time was able to tell her if she would ever stand upright or walk again. So you get this picture? I could go on and on. It's like that with her health all the time. I haven't even scratched the surface. She lives with scary diagnoses and sometimes really scary prospects. She is in significant pain most days and has to spend a lot of time every day keeping her body as healthy and strong as she possibly can. Even when Jenny feels awful, even those 6 years that she had pneumonia, every day she got up and walked. And worked out, swam if she could, because if she does not do that, things get much worse very quickly. There have been so many times when we thought we were losing her. So as you might expect, with a body that attacks itself, she's immunosuppressed all the time. COVID has been especially hard and risky for Jenny. Her doctors have made it clear that if she gets it, she will not survive. The way we all live now with the hand washing and the sanitizing gel and all that, that's how Jenny always had to live. COVID has ramped it up even higher. So you can imagine with all of this, how incredible it has been for me that often when I am talking to her, she speaks with a lot of joy about how grateful she is. Jenny, who has so much more challenging her every day on top of what we are all dealing with these days, is filled with gratitude and gladness a lot of the time. With Thanksgiving coming, I was reminded of this, and I decided to ask her how she is managing to be so grateful when so many of us are just irritable. And I was so struck by her answers and grateful for them that I shared them with Kathy and Roger and Jeff, and we all decided we wanted you to hear them in this service. These are her secrets. One thing, she has a daily meditation practice. She shared some pages with me from meditation books that she's been cycling through for decades now, often with notes that she adds with the date or the year. One was from a day during that time that she was bedridden with this leaking cerebral spinal fluid, and the quote for that day was from the Bible. It said, "Do not hide your light under a bushel. Arise and shine. For the light has come and the glory of the Lord is risen in thee." Jenny's a Unitarian Universalist. She works with what she gets. Under it, and she sent me a photo of it, under it she had written 2006, "Lying in bed now, please help me to feel my light and to be useful to others." Rise and shine. I mean, it's such a careless phrase now, right? It takes on a whole new meaning when just rising would be nearly miraculous. But she leaned into it rather than rejecting it in frustration or disappointment. And this has been key to her learning to practice gratitude. And this is my point this morning. Gratitude can be a practice, not only in the sense of something we do intentionally, but in the sense of something that we train for, something we may not start with at all, but that instead grows from preparation and skills and drills. Choosing to develop our ability, we can learn to do it better, to do it at all. Learn to feel gratitude, even dwell in it strongly and consistently. Who would not rather go through these days more grateful and joyful than we feel? Jenny has two ways that she particularly practices gratitude, and these are on your insert in the order of service this morning. Want to grab it? It looks like this. Beautiful. Made by our religious education assistant, Anna. On one side, you'll see a sheet that looks like this with 4 words beginning with G. What do they say? Can you guys tell me? Good, glitch, goal, gratitude. She makes this list every single day. Good, glitch, grateful, and goal. Under good, Jenny writes one or more things that are hard to do that she did, like, for example, exercise. Under glitch, she writes something that didn't go well the day before. She didn't call a doctor. She procrastinated on something. Under grateful, she writes one or more things she's grateful for. For instance, that our parents are okay. She puts her G's down very briefly. She doesn't write full sentences, so if she's thankful that my mom and dad, her mom and dad, our parents are okay, she just writes mom and dad, M&D, okay. And goal, the goal comes out of the glitch. What will she do to address or resolve what didn't go well the day before? So that's it. The 4 G's for her are an everyday thing, which means she has a moment every day when she does not take things for granted. like the continued health and lives of our parents, who are both now in their very late 80s. The second thing she does is on the other side of your insert. What do you see there? The alphabet. This is a gratitude alphabet. She does it often, not every single day, but many times a week. She writes one thing, again, very quick, that she's grateful for every letter of the alphabet. Every day, her B is that she's grateful for Brian, her husband. Sometimes they line up pretty loosely. On good days, C, she told me, is awful grateful I can move. If things are going all right, M is sometimes she's grateful that she doesn't need more that day. N is sometimes that she's grateful she can say no kindly. Often Jenny's X, because what are you going to do for that, right? She doesn't play the xylophone. And she's had way too many X-rays. Often Jenny's X is that she's grateful she can move her body in the shape of an X, because there have been times when she couldn't. If she can't do it standing, maybe she can do it in the water or lying in bed. Any X counts. That would never have occurred to me as a reason for gratitude, but it works. And it could work for any of us. I was watching when we did our prayer earlier. A lot of you guys were at least halfway there. So I would like to invite us all now to stand as we are able. If you can, stand up and put your body in the shape of an X. Spread your legs, stand steady, raise your hands, feel the X. You can do that. You can do that. What a gift. What a gift. If standing doesn't work, maybe you're doing it sitting. Push your legs out as far as you can sitting down. If we can't do a Y, maybe we can just do if we can't do an X, maybe we can do a Y. Put your legs together or pull them together sitting down. Whatever we can do it and think we can move our bodies and we can be grateful, because that is a gift, as any of us who have been injured or lost mobility can absolutely attest. I am sure there are people in this meeting house this morning that could not always raise your arms that high. So it's important not to overthink the gratitude alphabet. When she told me about the ways Jenny practices gratitude, she stressed she doesn't work hard at any of this. It is very simple. It's often repetitive. It's not doable if it takes a long time and racking your brain for the cleverest solution. Just write what comes to mind, and keep going. So we're at Z now. Should we try to bend our bodies into a Z? No. What Jenny often writes for Z is a little tongue-in-cheek. I'm grateful I don't have to be perfect. So this is how she lives. This is how she lives. And moving through these recent days and months and years, when so much is tough, she talks more and more, just in casual conversation, with real gladness about the many things she's grateful for. She does not feel like a victim. And most important in terms of our faith, which is, again, about honesty with ourselves regarding what we really think and feel and perceive, Jenny really does feel okay. And she really does feel like she has a wonderful life, even now. The great 20th century African American social philosopher and writer James Baldwin once wrote a sentence that has always stuck in my head. He wrote, "You think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world. But then you read. For me as a reader, I've always loved that wisdom. But really, it is true for any of us when we bump into any kind of example, any person, any idea that shines a new light on our own experiences and possibilities. Being cranky is honest, but it is not enough. It's not where I'm willing to stay. It's not how any of us wants to feel. Especially now, as we move into this holiday that is all about lifting up awareness of blessings, humility in the face of the scope of life, gladness for the goodness that we have around us and in us. We can do better. And if it doesn't come easy, then practice. I am going to. And I hope we all can. Every one of you has this insert now. I hope you will give it a try. Try it on your own. Do it with a friend. Do it together with your family. And may every one of us have a true and good Thanksgiving. Among the many things we may be grateful for are the incredibly powerful and determined food ministries of this congregation that have kept going right through COVID and done so much to serve people struggling with food and housing insecurity. We have a dedicated offering this morning for the work of First Use Loaves and Fishes Group, which provides nourishing meals to people who are struggling with food and housing insecurity. The team reports and is happy to report that they have not only survived but thrived during the pandemic. They have active volunteers now, more than they did prior to the pandemic. The team has established partnerships with 3 other agencies in the past 11 months. 2 of these agencies are shelters for unhoused people, which provide safe spaces for families. The 3rd agency provides housing for low-income and elderly or disabled people. They want to thank everyone who has written them a check, everyone who has donated food to be served at a shelter, everyone who has given their time in making and distributing lunches again and again. Everything that they have done, all the ways that they have grown and become stronger, especially during COVID, were possible only because of this congregation's support, your support. And they end by saying, please help us to help others. We are so proud to be part of the First Unitarian Church in Providence beloved community. Please give a special gift to this dedicated offering. We often raise $1,000, $2,000, even more in these monthly offerings where we give to an organization that shares our hope and vision for the world. What you give today makes a huge difference, and it is the one chance we have this year to give to this critical mission that is saving and serving so many lives in need. Thank you so much in advance for your generous gift, for all that you give, and all that you do, and all that you are. We have one invitation this morning, among the many ways to more deeply live out our faith in our days, which is that members and friends of First U have been invited to attend a scholarship breakfast sponsored by the Rhode Island Ministers Alliance. This is a group of ministers in our state who are mostly people of color. Pastor Howard Jenkins of Bethel AME is their current president. The scholarship breakfast is a highlight program for them every year and is one of their most important and impactful efforts. The breakfast will be held on the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, Monday, January 17th, at Rhodes on the Patuxent in Cranston. Doors open at 7. Breakfast will be available at 8. Tickets are $50 a person. First U already has 15 people registered to attend. I hope you will think about joining us. We also have some generous individuals in our congregation who are donating extra tickets for any church members to use if they want to go, but the price would be a hardship. Please think about attending. You can call our church administrator, Nancy, in the office as soon as possible to reserve your tickets. The deadline for reserving those tickets is the 3rd week of December for obvious reasons. So don't wait.
All that I am, all that I see.
All that I've been and all that I will ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing.
And I'm grateful for it all. For it all.
Please join in the words for our chalice extinguishing. This light burns in our hearts. We carry the flame of peace, love, and hope to lead again.
Praise and thanks for all that is our life, for all that is our life. We sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good.